Where did this all came from? You started from making $40,000 a year, being 25.
Not 44.
$4,000 a year.
Yeah.
So that's a lot less. And what happened? So you were doing that, right? You were doing your thing. What shifted in your mind? What changed?
A lot of things. I think I was just waking up in the morning and going through the day and going to bed at night. But I think that's what most people do. And I hadn't gone to school. I only had 2 months high school. I never had a good job, but I couldn't hold a job. I wasn't a good employee. I would just do enough so I wouldn't get fired, but I got fired a lot. And I met a man, and Ray Stanford in Toronto, and I'm from Toronto. And he got talking to me, he said, why don't you change the way you're living? Well, you know, it never entered my mind that I could or that I should. I didn't give any thought to it. And in looking back, I don't think most people do. You know, people that are watching your material or that are familiar with me or my seminars, they're thinking of what they're going to do with their life. But they're in the minority. 90-some% of the population are lost, and I was. I had never done anything of any consequence. I was earning $4,000 a year. I owed $6,000. So, I mean, if I had taken all the money I earned for 18 months and paid debt, I would have just broken even. I'll tell you one thing I've learned. If your goal is to get out of debt, you'll probably stay in debt forever, because that's what you're thinking about. And I quit thinking of debt and I started to think of earning money. When you think of something, what you've done is you've flipped your brain onto a higher frequency. The very fact you can see it is all the proof you need to know you could get it. What you have to do is raise your level of consciousness to that frequency. And then you will attract whatever's on that frequency.
You know you have a level of success that most people would wish for. Most people, I think most people, if they would envision the success that you have at the moment, or that most successful people have, they would say, if I would have that, I would not work again. What makes you get up every morning, going in your age, right, is not the same as being 25, it's not the same as being 30. What makes you, what's that purpose, that motivation inside of you that makes you wake up in the morning and work again and just inspire people?
The people that quit work and retire, they don't even understand who they are. We're not made for work. Work's made for us.
Right.
What we've got to do is find out what we love. And then you have to do it because you love it. And so age, time, space, nothing to do with it. Your mind is full of the idea. You get up, you wake up, you get up, you got to get going because you got places to go and things to do, people to see, because you're in love with an idea. See, when people quit, like 3 Feet from Gold, they weren't in love with that idea. They were going after the money. It wasn't the idea that motivated them, it was the money that motivated them. And that's why they quit. See, when you're going after what you want, and that's one of the big problems with people when they set goals. They set a goal to do what they think they can do. Well, there's no inspiration in that. It's got to be what you want to do. See, wants come from the essence of who we are. We're spiritual beings. And we are a soul. We don't have a soul, we are a soul. And the soul is forever seeking its awareness of its oneness with that which is, which I call God. Well, spirit's always for expansion and fuller expression. It's never for disintegration. So there's a basic law of the universe. If you're not growing, you're dying. It's create or disintegrate. Nothing stays where it is. We live in an ocean of motion.
Entropy.
So it's the spirit within. Our spiritual DNA is perfect. There's perfection within every one of us. Well, it's that perfection seeking expression through us. It causes us to want. If you run, you want to run faster. If you jump, you want to jump higher. If you're selling, you want to sell more. Doesn't matter what you're doing, you want to do it better. When people understand where wants come from, that's when their life starts to change, I think. So then I started to think, I wonder how many things I believe are not true. Now, I was doing very well, but I didn't know why I was doing very well. I was what you call an unconscious competent. And you know, that's where most successful people are. And so I made up my mind I was going to figure out, why was I winning? And then I really started to study. And that's what took me to Nightingale Conant. It took me 9.5 years. And when I figured it out, all I wanted to do was teach it. That's all I do.
And when you do what you love, isn't it that there's like an infinite amount of energy?
Well, you see, you don't get energy. All the energy there ever was or ever will be is omnipresent. It's evenly present in all places at the same time. You don't get energy, you release energy. You're just an instrument that energy flows through. Desire is the triggering mechanism that releases the energy. When you've got the desire, you've got the energy. If you haven't got any desire, you haven't got the energy.
So you're just blocking it. If you're...
Well, yeah, exactly. That's exactly what you're doing. See, you're a channel that it flows through. And when there's no desire...
You're just a wall.
That's all.
Blocks everything.
If I want to do something, I find somebody that's already done it. And then I do exactly what they tell me. It's a simple rule to follow. I don't read novels. I don't watch movies. I watch documentaries or things like that where I can learn. I'm only interested in studying something that can cause me to become more of what I'm capable of being. See, I think we're all hardwired to do something really special with our life. And that's all I want to do. I'm really good at what I do. I could walk by a person in the hall and like that, I could tell them exactly what they're like. I could read their energy like a book. Everything goes on the inside, shows on the outside. See, we're gifted with faculties of the mind that the average person knows nothing about. You have intuition, the will, reason, imagination, perception, memory. That's what separates us from all the rest of forms of life. We go through school and never learn anything about it. Like you'll hear people say they have a bad memory. There's no such thing as a bad memory. Everybody has a perfect memory. It's just weak. They've never developed it. Our imagination. Your imagination is the most magnificent. Hill said it's the most marvelous, miraculous, inconceivably powerful force the world's ever known. I can use my imagination to project myself into the future and bring the future into the present and start living there. You work from the imagination. You don't work to it. You work from it.
Backwards from the result.
Yeah. Nobody can do it for them. Nobody can do it for you. Nobody can do it for me. You got to do it for yourself. You've got to wake up. You see, all we're ever going to get is awareness. We've already got everything. The only thing we lack is the awareness of what we've got. We're God's highest form of creation. There's nothing on the planet that will equal us. Well, that's all any of us are after. Most people that are teaching don't know what they're teaching. 80% of the people that teach have never done what they're teaching. What we've got to understand is we're trading our life for our goals. Literally trading our life. Would you trade your life for a car or a house? I don't think so. So it's got to be something really meaningful. And we're not taught to think this way. We should sit down and don't give any thought to where the money's going to come from, where the help's going to come from. It's what do you really want? Like Ed Hillary was a beekeeper in Auckland.
That story.
He wanted to climb Mount Everest. It had never been done. People died trying to do it. He went in 51 and failed. He went back in 52 and failed. In 1953, he stood on top of the mountain with Tenzing Norgay. But he didn't know how to get there until after he had got there. Edison didn't know how to illuminate the world until after he had done it. The Wright brothers were bicycle mechanics in Dayton, Ohio. No one believed you could fly. They had been trying it for years.
But they saw it.
But they wanted to do it. They didn't know how, and they couldn't tell you until after they had done it. Now, the first flight only lasted 12 seconds. And the naysayer said, yeah, but they only were up there for 12 seconds. They said, we not only got up there, we kept the damn thing up there for 12 seconds. So when a person sets a goal, they've got to say, what could I want? If I just let my mind just wander, use my imagination, how do I really want to live? That's what they should be doing. That's where it should start. And then don't listen to anyone that tells them they can't. Go to someone who has done something and ask them, what should I do? And then do exactly what the person tells them.
Simple formula.
It's not very difficult. If it had been difficult, I wouldn't have figured it out.
Then what's stopping people?
Ignorance.
Ignorance.
That's all the problems in the world come from ignorance. That's the purpose of life, to overcome ignorance, develop awareness. The only way to overcome ignorance is through knowledge. And the only way to get the knowledge is to study. Most people, they finish school, close the book, say, that's over. I'm never going to open another book as long as I live. They're screwed. It's all over. Doubt and worry is on the negative side of life. Understanding is on the positive side. Right. Doubt and worry comes from ignorance. Understanding comes from knowledge. But you got to study to get it. Doubt and worry are a psychic disease. It's an intellectual exercise. They're using their intellectual factors to build a negative idea, and that's all they see. They take and internalize that, and they get emotionally involved with it. It goes from doubt and worry to fear. They've emotionalized the doubt or worry. Turns into fear. The fear is in the emotional mind, and the emotion must be expressed through the only instrument it can be expressed through, the physical body. So it moves the body into a state we call anxiety. Anxiety is never expressed. Anxiety is suppressed. The suppression turns to depression. They bottle it up inside. They suppressed the fear. It turns into depression. The depression turns into disease. The disease turns into decay. St. Clair Lewis was right. He said, we don't die, we kill ourselves. Now, what is the opposite of all that? You go from ignorance to doubt and worry to fear to anxiety, suppression, depression, disease, disintegration. Go over on the other side. You go from understanding to an emotional state called faith. You just know it's going to move into form because you understand the law. Faith isn't believing something you can't see. Strange thing about faith and fear, they both demand you believe something you can't see. Why would people choose fear over faith? Because they're ignorant. So you go from understanding to faith. The faith manifests on the physical plane, not as anxiety, as well-being. The well-being is not suppressed, it's expressed. And the expression turns to acceleration. You're building energy. And that is because there's no dis-ease, you're at ease. And that turns into creation, not disintegration.